Welcome to the Potter Discussion.
Welcome back to the Potter Discussion, discussing Harry Potter, Fantastic Beasts, and the Wizarding World fandom. I am your host, Oscar, and this is episode 127, the first review of the Secrets of Dumbledore. I am so excited for this because this is going to be a fantastic episode. The film has been released. I have gotten myself to the theater and watched it, and this is going to be a good episode. I'm going to give this is going to be a very general episode because this is the first of several reviews that I'm planning to do. I'm going to give my thoughts, some things that were different, which movie was better, out of the three, different actors, and also some predictions that I made that came true, because some did. So definitely stick around because we're going to be doing a lot of fun stuff this episode. And if you haven't already, because if you haven't, what are you doing? Definitely go sign up for the Potter Discussion newsletter. It is an exclusive group that you cannot get into just by listening to this podcast, but it is free to join. So if you click the link in the show notes below, not only will you get the ultimate guide to a perfect Harry Potter marathon for free, you will also get an email every 2 weeks discussing even further into some of your favorite Harry Potter topics. Again, that is for free in the show notes below. Sign up for the quill link there. Also, just one last thing, the Instagram account. Gotta give a shout out at ThePotterDiscussion on Instagram. Me posting memes or posting videos, so many fun stuff, edits, pictures, insights, all of that cool stuff. And if you're following my Instagram account, you will know of a very special thing that I did very recently that I am doing an episode on. So if you want to know what that is early, definitely check that out. I made a couple posts about what I did. Now it'll be very apparent, so make sure you go follow at the Potter Discussion on Instagram to get a little bit of an insight into next week's episode. But that is just about it, so let's get into the episode. Alright, to kick it off, I'm just going to give you some of my general thoughts, just a big overview of literally what I thought. And I think essentially what I was really noticing and what I thought after seeing this film was that it was better than The Crimes of Grindelwald. Now, that, I think, is The Crimes of Grindelwald, first of all, set a bit of a low bar. So I think it was assumed that The Secrets of Dumbledore would surpass it, and I think it did, but certainly a lot more than I was expecting. I didn't know how far the Fantastic Beasts series is going to go, but from what I'm seeing, I think there's definitely a bit of tension and really miscommunication on Warner Brothers' part. They gave the audience what they thought we wanted, and maybe that was not just, the perfect thing, but I think The Secrets of Dumbledore definitely was better than I thought it would be. And I think that is definitely contributed to by a couple factors that we will get into later, but that was really my first impression, is this is a good movie. And I think there is room to analyze and enjoy this film. It's not all about, Hogwarts, because really all the Hogwarts, related stuff we see in the trailer was, just about all the Hogwarts-related stuff we see in the film. There wasn't much difference there, and I think that really proves the point of Warner Brothers was just using the trailer and using Hogwarts and all that, stuff as just a fan service to get people to watch. And it worked. It did. But I think not in the, way they intended to, just overall. Because there was, I could definitely see that there was more to it than just that. I think Hogwarts did play a role, but it was much less of the base of operations, because really that was, if anything, that was Jacob's Bakery or the train station or something not. Hogwarts was definitely not a center of attention. And in one of the pieces that was of music that was released before the film, called "The Room We Require," there was a huge Hedwig's theme in there, and I thought that would be the reveal of Hogwarts, but it was actually the reveal of the Room of Requirement. So there was definitely some difference in the just like general sense of what the movie was, because I think we definitely misread some of the things that was involved with this film, and I think for some of that, at least, that's for the better, because there were some shots taken out of context that just made no sense, and there were some things that were absolutely blown up by Warner Brothers just to get people to see it. But I think there were also some things that were made a lot better by seeing the entire thing, like the Manticore scene, or like the Wyvern, or like all the Fantastic Beasts. All that stuff was just made better by the fact that we got to see the entire film. So I think the trailer is definitely not doing any favors in terms of really showing us what Warner Brothers wanted us to see. But I think if we did continue if we had like a 10-minute long trailer, I think it would only get better. Because WB was really focusing just on, Hogwarts. Jacob now has a wand and he's casting spells, but then we saw in the movie that's not really what he was doing. I mean, this is absolutely crazy, but I think that is just about it in terms of like what I really thought was it was better than the movie, than the Crimes of Grindelwald, but it certainly was not this, complete comeback of an absolute, of like the best. But I'm completely overanalyzing this. It was a fantastic film, really. So that is basically what I think. I think I'm going to leave it at that, because I did enjoy it, so I'm leaving on a positive note. I enjoyed it. It was a lot better than The Crimes of Grindelwald, and I think there's room for improvement, let's put it. But that kind of concludes my spoiler-free review. I tried to keep it spoiler-free if you haven't seen the film, but now we are getting into some spoilers, so if you have not seen the film, click off now. I'm sorry to say, I'm asking you to, and go watch it. Go watch The Secrets of Dumbledore, because there's some good stuff in here, and there are some big topics that we have to unpack. So if you have not seen the film, if you don't want spoilers, click off now. If you have, keep on listening, because we have some good stuff ahead of us, some big questions, some big statements that I think we definitely should go over. So let's get into this spoiler review. Alright, so I want to kick it off with just some fan service. Now, I have this first on my list because that's what I was thinking of when I went into this film. I'm just really trying to catch everything that Warner Brothers put in as a fan service. I mean, honestly. So I wrote down as many as I could remember. So here are all the things that have to do with Harry Potter, that have to do with the Potter series, Hogwarts. Here is all of it. So we have the Room of Requirement, obviously. There was some scenes in the Great Hall. We had all the Quidditch. Also, when they opened Theseus and Lely's cases, and all the like Quidditch stuff flew out. Like, remember, so they were in Bhutan and they were cornered by some of Grindelwald's men. Theseus and Lely kind of came up on each other, bumped into each other, turned around, and then run a duel. They were taken by one point away of their cases. They opened them up, and they just started spewing bludgers and the snitch and all this stuff and books and everything. And that really reminded me of the Lestrange Vault, of all the curses that were on the goblets and coins. So when you touched it, they would all multiply. That's what I was thinking of that. And plus all the Quidditch stuff that flew out of it. But that also happens with Jacob's case. He had a bunch of pastries in it, and when the dude opened it, all the pastries came flying out, which I was definitely reminded of the Strange Fall, especially when he was carried out of the alleyway by the sheer amount of pastry that was just spewing from the case. So that was something that stood out to me. Also, the big shots of Hogwarts when Theseus and Newt took that port key, the tie port key from the Manticore, from the stuff I can't remember the name of the thing now, but where the Manticore was, they took the port key to the edge of the lake across from Hogwarts, and they did this big shot of Hogwarts, and it's amazing. We also have Hogsmeade, which actually was a much more of a center than Hogwarts. We only had a couple scenes in Hogwarts. Hogsmeade, specifically the Hog's Head, was really the base of operations here. Like I was saying, Hogwarts you would assume would be, but it was Jacob's Bakery, the train station, the Hog's Head were the most used places. We also have a lot of house name drops. These Slytherins gave me some cockroach clusters, or they're the Ravenclaws, or the Slytherins. All that stuff. I thought I could definitely hear a lot of. Also, 3 points to Hufflepuff. that was funny. That I think was very reminiscent of the Potter series. So those were just all squeezed out of my mind. All the things that are in my memory of things that reminded me of the Potter series. Of course, this is not just a talking point, but I want to really go over what that kind of means. And really how they showed it in the trailer and what the intended effect of the trailer was in terms of how they wanted us to perceive the movie and how they intended us for the entire fandom to see these trailers go, Harry Potter, obviously I'm going to go see this film and go watch the film. Now, is that the really sense I got from the movie? No. Really, I did not think that it was a fan service packed Warner Brothers was making it for the fandom movie. I really think it was a film that was meant to carry the story along. I know it was certainly not just the completely fan service free, but there were elements of Harry Potter that I think snuck in. And then also some that really didn't. For example, the cases, the spewing of the stuff from the cases was certainly something that was not in your face Potter, but it was definitely something that you saw and you go, oh wow, like this is magic. This is what I know. This is true magic. And you wouldn't go, oh, of course, the Strange Vault and Deathly Hallows Part 1, of course I know that. Like you wouldn't go like that, or Part 2, whatever. You wouldn't say that when you see the movie, but you would be reminded of the nostalgia of the Potter series, because like what WB was really intending, it was for people who have not really been following the Fantastic Beasts series to see the trailer, go, oh my gosh, I know this, and then go see the film. And the same with someone's walking by the movie theater, like a random Friday night, they go, oh, that movie's playing, Dumbledore. Oh, yeah, Dumbledore. Of course, I know Dumbledore, and then I'll go watch the movie. Of course, that wasn't really what happened. That's not what's happening, but I can see where it was going. Now, with all this fan service, I think it was very minimal. Just really, not in general, but in terms of like in your face, this is Harry Potter. I think a lot of it was really meant for just like tying in the Harry Potter series, not just showing like, here is Harry Potter, look at this. Because I think, like I was saying in previous episodes, Fantastic Beasts wants to move away from Harry Potter and become its own thing. Very difficult, considering the legacy of Harry Potter. So now I think what they're doing is leaning on Harry Potter and using Harry Potter's popularity to kind of grow the Fantastic Beasts family. Now, I think that does have the potential to work, but it might not be the most desirable thing for Harry Potter fans, or rather Fantastic Beasts fans, because we want our own series. We don't want Harry Potter, we want our own series. And of course, more Harry Potter is great, but the Fantastic Beasts series is a storyline that we have never seen, that really I really want to see what happens. I want to see how the duel goes, all the plot twists, all the stuff. I really want to at this point. I don't want the Harry Potter. I don't want the stuff like that. I mean, of course, I don't mind Hogwarts. Like, I don't mind that it's put in, but if someone's listening to this from Warner Brothers, just please do something about this. Make your next movie about something else besides Hogwarts, because I think with all the hype, hype, I know I'm like 60, I'm using the word hype, with all the excitement around the drop of this film, I think it was assumed that there would be this like overwhelming element of Potter, of Hogwarts, of Expelliarmus, but there really wasn't. I didn't get the sense that it wasn't this completely Potter takeover of a film, but I definitely noticed the elements of it. And I think because that's what we were expecting going into, like walking to the theater, I was thinking, all right, time to count the amount of times I see something that has to do with Harry Potter. I was not like, we went to the theater thinking that. So we really noticed it. It's like, those like manifestation journals where you like write something a bunch of times and it'll come true. I always wondered how those worked, but actually just recently watching this film, I've kind of was thinking about it, and I guess it's because you write it so many times, it's at the forefront of your mind. So whenever the thing that you write down happens, you go, oh, of course, this is all my doing. And I think it's kind of the same with this. We were thinking about it so much, we were talking about it before the release of the film, and we went into the theater, we were thinking about fan service still, and at the first hint of Hogwarts, at the first sight of the snitch, at the first even sight of a wand or the Hogwarts or a train that resembled the Hogwarts Express, we go, fan service! Warner Brothers, what are you doing? Warner Brothers, I mean, like, literally the first time I saw, like, a snitch or someone playing Quidditch or Hogwarts, I was going, oh my gosh, like, come on, like, what are you doing? But later on, when I saw that there wasn't that much outside of that, I was going, okay, well, I guess I'm not really cutting Warner Brothers any slack. slack. And I think that's also why it seemed like there was so much to do with Potter, only because that's exactly what we were thinking of when we went into the film. All we could think of was, how much Harry Potter will there be? I have to see, I have to know. And then every little thing we counted and we marked down and we remembered, because that's what we were thinking about when we went to the theater. So if you haven't seen the film and you're still listening to this, I mean, I'm sorry for all spoilers, but also go into the theater with an open mind. Set the bar low so you can be surprised and just be happy with the film, because there's room for enjoyment, there's room for analyzing. Do both, but do just enjoy it, because I'll analyze it for you. I think that just about cleans up our fan service segment, but let's move on to some predictions that came true. Okay, so predictions. I made a predictions episode. It was episode 125, I believe. It was my final predictions for the Secrets of Dumbledore, and a couple predictions that I made came true, which I'm personally pretty surprised about, because I never make true predictions. But this year I did, and I want to share a couple of them with you because they are scarily accurate. Now, there are a couple major ones that I want to share, some not, some ones that are worth talking about. I think, like, the Blood Pact. My prediction was the Blood Pact would be destroyed. Now, obviously, that was an obvious one. Obviously, that was obvious. And it was. The Blood Pact was destroyed at the very end of the film, and that was one that I think a lot of people got that I shouldn't talk about, just because it was expected and not a big shock. That was one of my predictions. Credence was another one, and I'm kind of thinking that I got double points. I got 2 out of 1 for this one, because what I said was Credence will either join Dumbledore or die. We don't see him die in the film, but it is clear that he is dying, and Dumbledore says he knows the signs. I mean, Credence is falling over, he's pale, he is just not doing well, and in the end, guess what he does? He joins Dumbledore. He betrays Grindelwald. He goes, this man's lying to you. Do not believe him. The Chillin is dead. All that stuff. The Chillin was that little animal that Newt helped deliver in the very beginning of the film. He went to this place at night, this jungle, and the Chillin mother was giving birth, and the baby popped out, and then Credence and the French woman came and killed the mother. It was that whole scene. That's a Chillin, and that's what was selecting at the very end between Santos, the other man, and Grindelwald. So that's a bit of backstory. But what happened was my prediction: Credence will either die or join Dumbledore. Both happened. Well, I shouldn't say that, because we don't know Credence is dead. I think it's very clear that he is going to die. He's not, he was not dead at the end of the film, but he was certainly, saying his goodbyes to Aberforth, Lieutenant Peter's dad. I mean, of all things, okay. But we really saw that he was, if not, dead by the end of the movie, he's going to die. So there is certainly room for death in this, but there is also he also joined Dumbledore. So I think that's another one of my predictions that came true. Both sides of it came true, which I thought was just kind of cool. And another one that I made that came true, that actually scarily accurate, was about Hogwarts. Now I'm reading off the page. I wrote this before the film came out, I swear, but this is what I wrote. Hogwarts is not going to be a big part of the film. They only need it for one thing, and only have to move the plot along. That is the words that I wrote. Those are literally the words that I wrote. That Hogwarts will not be a big part of it. It would only be used once for a major thing, and it would be used to move the plot along. That is what I wrote in my journal. That is what I have down. That is 100% true. They were in the Great Hall, they were in all that stuff, but they didn't really use it for much. They just, said Bhutan, 3 points, Hufflepuff, great. But what they did use it for was in the, with the Tibetan prayer wheel, in the Room of Requirements. That was the major thing, because they used the Room of Requirement. They had the 5 cases. That was the 7 Potters. They took the cases, they went in, the big plan, And that was pretty much that. I mean, I am proud of myself because I actually made something. I made a prediction that actually came true. I mean, it actually happened. I mean, of course, this is all perspective. You could say, well, they just evaporated. They could just do that from wherever. And okay, whatever. I'm so proud of myself because I think that this was definitely one that was not apparent from the trailer, because like I was saying, now WB was leaning on this Harry Potter, this Hogwarts, this Quidditch, this all that stuff in the trailers, and there was big shots of Hogwarts. Even on the film poster, there's Hogwarts and a Phoenix. So how you can't get any more Potter in the trailers and the poster. But I said that there would not be as much Hogwarts as shown, and there was not, and I am happy. So thank you for that. I am waving to the crowd that is roaring about my approval right now. Thank you so much for that. Myself, my brain. I actually made a right prediction, so I am glad that some of my predictions came true. But obviously, the ones like the Blood Pact, I mean, they had to. The plot could not have moved further if the Blood Pact had not been destroyed. I think it had to be because there was just nothing more. It could have, like we were saying, it would either be destroyed this movie or be kind of like the final obstacle because it was made out to be this big thing. Now, because it was destroyed, that means that there's going to be another thing in the future that we don't know what's going to happen. So there's a lot more to be discovered. Those are some of the predictions that I made that came true, and let's move on. And now for one of the most controversial and awaited topics that were revealed in the film, we have Tina. Tina Goldstein. Was she in the movie? Was she not? We don't know. She was in a picture nudes case, and now she's not there at all. What is going on with Miss Goldstein here? Now, in the trailer, I'd say we did not see Tina. No, I shouldn't even say it. We did not see Tina in the trailer. Her person was not in the trailer at all, but Catherine Waterston was at the very top of the cast list, so she was in the film, but we had no idea what. We should picture in the case. That was all we saw of Tina. And we were like going off like crazy rampages. We were saying, oh, obviously Tina is Bunty. Of course, Tina's Bunty. But then now Tina's not in the film. Then Tina is, and is blah, blah, blah. It was just this muddled mess of confusion. Is Tina in the film? Is Tina not in the film? What's happening? And it turns out that Tina was involved in the film, just not in film, like barely, in the least exciting way possible. Now, I say that I was disappointed. Really, I was disappointed. It was a good way that they put her in. It was a nice, wholesome. They resolved it. But it was so generic and boring. It should have been something so much more exciting. It would have been so much easier. I could think of a better way to put Tina in. So here's how it happened. If your memories are a little foggy, the only two things we saw of Tina are, one, a shot of her at the American Ministry of Magic. She got those fancy prediction now. She doesn't have time for Newt. So we have one shot of her at the Ministry of Magic while during the choosing ceremony at Bhutan. Then we have and then at the very end, when Queenie and Jacob got married in Jacob's bakery, Tina came and saw Newt, and they went inside, and that was that, and that was boring because Tina came up and just like, hi, and then Newt was like, oh, Tina, you look great, and Tina was like, yeah, I know, and then they were like so close to kissing, but they got interrupted, and they had to awkwardly, but tension-filledly walk away, it was like, that happens every single time, so if they just, it would have been so much better if Tina was involved in such a more exciting way. Here is what I was thinking that would make it so much better. So, when they got the 5 cases with Jacob and Dumbledore, they went off, and then, Newt had the case, and then there was also... I'm blanking on this one. Queenie, no, not Queenie. Jacob had a case, and that was funny because Jacob went for the case that had the chillin', and Dumbledore was like, nope, no. That was funny. And then Bunty also got a case. 5 cases out in the world, in Bhutan, to try to distract them, to try to distract Grindelwald's people. And what I thought it would have been so much better to have Tina kind of make a surprise appearance then. Because what they did was they showed this person from the back, had this like robe on that went over their head, like in this like kind of formation, and that, wasn't thought to be someone of great importance. But that person at the end was coming up the stairs with the real case, someone who had protected it for the whole time. And I was thinking, oh, this is perfect. WB's a genius. This is Tina. But then they turned around and it was Bunty. Let me say that again. She turned around and it was Bunty. Sigh. Asterisk. Sigh. Asterisk. I cannot believe that they did not put in the character that we had no idea was even in the film. We were guessing if she was even in the film. That they put them in the mystery character who was a pivotal part of the story. They put someone who we already knew was in the story in a very unexciting way. I mean, they could have had this, like, big part of the story that Newt and Tina then, like, find their love again because Tina helps save the day like she always does. And Bunty could have just been another person without, like, the whole veil on with the case, and had a whole scene of her. I mean, I just feel like there's so much room for Tina that Tina just was not filled in, and yet finally at the event, like, we saw Tina, she did her hair, and Tina was like, oh, and then Newt was like, yeah, that suits you, and she was like, thanks, and they went inside, and it's like, I'm hoping in Fantastic Beasts 4 there's going to be more of Tina in the film. That is all I can say on the topic of Tina. And there you have it. Review number 1 of The Secrets of Dumbledore. I hope you enjoyed this episode. This is the first of many, I will say. I got through, four things I wanted to talk about? Yeah, you can't get to the bottom of my list with just one scroll. So there's a lot more to be discussed, although you do have a different episode next week because it is one that is a bit timely. I want to have it fresh in my memory, as fresh as can be. If you want to know what next week's episode is all about, all you have to do is check at ThePotterDiscussion on Instagram. There are a couple posts about the very special thing that I saw a couple days ago that I think will be very exciting to hear about and really understand. So if you want to know about the next episode, again, it is at The Potter Discussion. If you want the ultimate guide to a perfect Harry Potter marathon and emails every 2 weeks about some more of your favorite Harry Potter topics, go ahead and sign up for the Quill and Ink newsletter for free. It is an exclusive group, but there is no fee to sign up or no recurring payment you need. So make sure you go do that. That is really just about it for this episode. Thank you so much for listening. Have a good day, and remember that happiness can be found even in the darkest of times if one only remembers to turn on the light. See you later.
This was the Potter Discussion.